This is Chick2Chick Uncut, raw and unfiltered.
It's the most wonderful time of the year. It's that time of year when we shop till we drop. It's also the time of year when thieves come out and do their dirty work. This might sound hard to believe, but every year Americans lose $158 billion to scammers. Yeah. These Grinches come out during the holiday season, and we're talking about everything from charity scams to fake websites. You know, you might go on a website, you think you're ordering a gift for somebody, and it's a fake, and then you get ripped off. So how do these scams work? What are some of the warning signs? And here's the big thing. What can you do to protect yourself? My guest today is Mary Bach. She is a consumer watchdog with AARP Pennsylvania. Mary, thanks so much for coming on the podcast.
Thank you, Flora. It is my distinct pleasure.
Before we get into the nitty-gritty of this podcast, tell us about yourself and why you're so passionate about being a consumer watchdog.
Well, I am a lead volunteer with AARP, and I am trying to educate people of all ages about the frauds and scams that are out there. There are entirely too many of them, and all of the government agencies that track these kinds of issues say that it's easy to be a criminal, and all of the scams are proliferating, and they are not going away.
It's terrible. It seems like there are more and more every day. And you've been doing this for a long time. Has it been like 20 years?
Actually, I'm in my 28th year as a lead volunteer with the AARP, and I'm very enthusiastic about what I do.
We love having you doing this and looking out for our best interests. I had mentioned that figure, $158 billion. That's so hard to comprehend. If you were to break that down for us, what does that equate to?
Well, those big numbers are hard to grasp, and it breaks down to $434 million a day that people in the United States are victimized. And being even more specific, it breaks down to $300,000 a minute. Many of us can't understand when we talk in billions and trillions of dollars, but certainly in thousands, we can understand a lot better. $300,000 a minute in victimized losses is an absolutely huge amount of money.
This is huge business. It's big business, but it's not good business. And when you hear those numbers, it's so hard to believe. This also upsets me very much. And it seems like the elderly are always the prime target victimized by these scams. Why do they go after the elderly?
They know that older people possibly own their own homes. They may have a pension or a nest egg, some monies in the bank. And AARP regularly does surveys about what's actually truly going on in the community. And some 78% of people 65 and older have experienced one or more types of fraud. And during the holiday shopping season, about 52% of people 65 and over say that they've actually received some type of false notification about a package delivery, and some 38% of people have experienced fraud when purchasing online. Again, these scams are not going away. The criminals follow the headlines, as we like to say, and they know that many of us are rushed. We're busy during the holidays. We've got a lot on our minds as we prepare for the holidays, and they think that many of us are vulnerable.
Well, it's so confusing, and it's really hard to keep track of because you order something and you've ordered so many things and you can't remember what you order, and then you get an email and it says, oh, this is about your order, and you're like, did I order that? And so I think they also prey on trying to confuse us and inundate us with all of these emails. There's another set that they seem to target, which I was surprised to hear that. They not only target the elderly, but they're targeting younger people. I believe you said between the ages of 19 and 28. Why that age group?
The younger people are actually ones reporting it more often, probably because they're technologically savvy. But in terms of actually losing money, they lose much less money than the senior community, possibly because they don't have a work history. They certainly don't have pensions, and they have less money in the bank, or they have less money that is losable, so to speak. And they are a demographic that is, again, much more technologically savvy, so they're reporting it. Older people often are victimized and they don't report.
Yeah, they get embarrassed, I think. That they're embarrassed to speak up and say, hey, I was victimized here. Somebody just stole all of this money from me.
And that's definitely part of it. Many times they are concerned, older people are concerned about losing their independence, and they're afraid that if they do report, or if family members learn that they've lost money, lost some of their dear money, that in fact it will jeopardize that independence, because none of us wants our family members to say, Mom or Dad's losing it.
Yeah.
And so as a result, they just keep their mouths shut.
Okay, so let's talk specifically about holiday scams. We've got Black Friday shopping coming up, Cyber Monday, all of these scams out there. Let's start with these fake websites. And I got to be honest, I was a victim of that. I saw a website, I thought it was for Wayfair, and in fact, it wasn't. So let's talk about all of these fake websites that are out there.
It's very, very easy for a scammer, for a criminal, to put up a fake website. They copy legitimate logos of mainstream companies that many, many of us deal with, and they take a web address and they might change or add just one very, very tiny, minuscule type detail. For example, they might add an extra dot or period. They might put some type of slash or hashtag in a web address. So something so seemingly insignificant that if you're dealing with a company, you don't pay that really close attention, and you get a pop-up, or you Google a website and it simply comes up as the fake address and you don't even realize it.
And that's exactly what happened with me. It was a pop-up that came up during my Facebook feed. Again, I thought it was for Wayfair, this deal that seemed too good to be true. And all I did was I clicked it. And boy, it's been causing me grief and heartache ever since. But to your point, when I went back and looked at it, there was one slight variation in the web address, and I didn't think to pay any attention to it. And when I called Wayfair, they said, oh, this happens to them all the time. So that is the number one thing we need to worry about during the holiday season. Before you order something, make sure that website is legit. We also have charity scams running rampant during the holiday season. Let's talk about those, Mary.
Well, the criminals know that so many people give to charity during the holiday gift-giving season, typically between the Thanksgiving and the end of the year. More money is given to charity in that specific period of time than at any other period during the year. And many, many people do save their charity gift giving for the holiday period. The scammers will lure you in with, again, fake websites. They will call you on the telephone and pressure you to give money. Any legitimate charity is not going to pressure you. They will take your hard-earned dollars any time of the year, because charities operate year-round, not just during 1 month. And they will take whatever you give whenever you're willing to give it. You need to make sure that with any charity solicitation that you check it out. You need to make sure that you know how your charity dollars are going to be used. And there are terrific websites like Charity Navigator or give.org, and it's charitynavigator.org or it's give.org. Give.org is a website operated by the Better Business Bureau. And those websites will give you accurate information about how your money is being spent, how the charity is going to use your money, and it is to your advantage to check out the legitimacy of any charity. You never want to give money to a charity via gift cards, that's a no-no, or via cryptocurrency. And more scammers are steering people to those forms of payment, gift cards or cryptocurrency, because they cannot be traced. And once your money is gone, it's gone.
Yeah. And so if somebody's pressuring you, don't give into it. Do your research first to make sure, as you said, look it up. But I have been a victim of these pressure tactics too. And I've just said, hey, I got to go. And I just hang up the phone because they keep trying and trying and trying. And I'm just like, I'm going. Here's a big one too, these delivery scams that happen during the holiday season. Let's talk about the emails that you get and the texts that you get about your delivery. Let's talk about those, Mary.
And those are very prevalent, and particularly as more and more people do shop online. You'll get a notice, and it'll come by either email or now text to your smartphone saying that a package has been delivered, and or it has not been delivered, a package that you ordered, and because there is some problem, you need to give them your credit card number because there is a delivery fee now trying to get the package delivered again, and you just should not fall for any of these kinds of things. If there is a legitimate package being delivered and you are not home, they're probably going to leave the package. You have to be concerned about porch pirates stealing from your porch or from the delivery site. But you need to look for a package delivery notice if in fact you asked for a signage for delivery. That's really the best way to protect yourself from porch pirates or from some type of delivery mix-up, is you must sign for a package or have a neighbor or a delivery notification that the package has been delivered in order to protect yourself, because you never want to click on a link in a message that you get about package delivery. That's going to put malware or a virus on your computer or your smartphone, whichever device you're getting the message or using. Again, these are all red flag situations, and you just have to be really careful these days.
So just by clicking that link that you think is legitimate for this package delivery, when in fact it's not, it's going to put a bug or a virus on your computer. Does that same thing happen like when you get a text if you click the link? Because I get those text messages all the time and it says click this link, and I never do. They can do the same thing to your phone?
Absolutely. You just want to delete or trash. Delete is your best friend. In no circumstances like this do you want to respond in any way. Simply delete.
Well, and I think that's what happened when I was talking about what happened to me and that fake website. I don't know how they did it, but I clicked again what I thought was the website for Wayfair. And now all of a sudden they had my name, my address, all of this personal information that I never gave to them. I didn't even order anything. And all of a sudden they started applying for credit cards in my name, and it has been a nightmare. So that is absolutely true. I think they put a virus on my computer and they were able to get that information. So we talked about those are the three big scams that are happening during the holiday season. Something else, though, that I want to talk about, I know there are government scams and business scams, but those friends and family scams, let's talk about those, Mary, that don't just happen during the holiday season, but happen year round, especially, and I hate to bring it up, but the grandparent scam. What happens during that?
Well, the criminals are imposters. They pretend to be somebody that they are not. And with the grandparent scam, they are pretending to be a grandchild in trouble, possibly because they have had an accident and they're now in the hospital or some type of medical facility in an emergency situation, but they need money. Or they have been arrested. They have had some type of drunk driving situation or ticketing situation where they need money in order to pay a fine or a fee or to get out of jail on bond or whatever it is, simply because of the circumstances, whatever the criminal is portraying themselves in terms of the grandchild to be. And we love our grandchildren, and we definitely don't want anything bad to happen to them. And so grandparents, particularly when they are awakened by a phone call in the middle of the night, and we all know that's never good news, you get caught up in so much in the emotion of the moment that you don't think through it, and you do think that it's your grandchild, even though it may not sound like them, and you say, it doesn't sound like you. And then you're told, oh, well, Grandma, I broke my nose in the accident, or, somebody accosted me and they beat me up and they hit me in the face. I just don't sound like myself. And so in all of those circumstances, the criminal has a good reason why the grandparent may be confused in the situation. The bottom line is money. They always want money, and they are going to tell you to send money in the form of gift cards or cryptocurrency. Sometimes, if it's criminals working together, they may even tell you that they are going to send a courier to get money, and they'll tell you to go to the bank during the day. They'll send a courier to your home. They may try to keep you, that is, the criminal may try to keep you on the phone as you go to the bank, and they tell you exactly what to say to the teller. If you're withdrawing an amount of money that's out of your character, all of a sudden you're withdrawing $2,000 or something and you're wanting it in cash, and you've never, ever had a transaction like that before. So again, there are so many red flag moments in our lives where we just have to be careful in these situations.
And I have to speak to, again, a personal story. This really happened to my neighbor, his mom. She got a call and they said, your grandson has been arrested. And I'm cutting through all of it because it was a very drawn out, convoluted scam. But they said, your grandson has been arrested. And by the end of the phone call, she had transferred $20,000 to these scammers to try to get her grandson out of prison. And it was all fake. And thank goodness her grandson walked in the door. She started telling him the story. He knew immediately, told his mom, they called the bank and halted everything. But this stuff really happens. And it was a significant amount of money. And to your point, they're preying on our emotions. You hear your grandson, you think, oh my goodness, I'm going to do whatever I need to do to protect my grandson. And preying on emotions, Mary, here's a big one.
Well,
those
Flora,
romance scams.
Yes, and let me add with the grandparent scam, every family should have some type of password or code word. And as soon as you hear something in the phone call about somebody's in trouble, you immediately ask for the family password or code word, and the scammer will not know it, and they're going to hang up the phone on you. And that's ultimately what you want to happen. So be very cognizant of these situations. Now to the romance scam. Romance scams actually take more money from individual victims than any other type of scam, and it's a very unreported scam, which is really very sad. And I'm almost disappointed to tell everyone that a reported 83% of the victims of romance scams are actually women, because I like to think women are smarter than that. But women are many times widowed, they are lonely, they get caught up in the emotion of the moment, and they are so happy to be talking to someone that they are easily lured into these kinds of situations.
And how much money are we talking about here with these romance scams? How much money are people losing?
It could be only a few $1,000s, or it could be millions of dollars, depending on someone's, resources, etc.
Wait, did you just say millions of dollars? Millions of dollars people are losing in romance scams.
There are some women that have ultimately reported that they lost $2 or $3 million because they were well off. Maybe their husband died after a long career. They saved their money. They were scrupulously careful. And she now has, as a widow, has a really hefty, nice nest egg and quality of life. And the scammers do their homework. They know what to say. They are actually trained. There are actually boiler rooms of scammers. Many of these romance scammers are located in Nigeria, Ghana, and Myanmar. And they are criminal enterprises. They know that they are going to make money. They make a whole lot more money being a criminal than they would make if they had what we would call a regular, honest form of living. And they are sanctioned in many cases by the government. The U.S. government does not have any kind of reciprocal law enforcement arrangement with these companies when it comes to the romance scammers. And one scammer, criminal, individual might have as many as 50 or more victims on the hook at the same time. They call the victim not by name, but honey or babe or sweetie, because they're dealing with so many different potential victims at the same time. They don't want to make a mistake and call you by your wrong name.
And then what do they do? What do they say? Because I can't imagine anybody saying anything to me that I'm going to send them money. What's the scam? How do they convince these women to send them money? Give us an example of what one of those conversations would go, how it would go.
Well, they actually get people, again, caught up in the emotion. They are telling you that they are typically abroad. They are often saying they're a doctor at the UN, or they are some in the military, and they co-opt pictures from the internet of people who legitimately have posted photographs on a website like Facebook and have a public page as opposed to a private page. And the criminal takes these photographs of these legitimate people, and then they put a story behind them. They are working abroad. They are in the military abroad. Again, doctors with the UN, and they have no access to their money. And you are the love of their life. They quickly fall in love or profess love. They've done their homework, so they know a lot about you. They know about your pets. They know about your hobbies. If you've got children or grandchildren, they may even know where you live, because there is so much public information about all of us that's posted on public websites. If they know your street address, they can Google your actual address on real estate sites, get a picture of your home. They can even find out how many bathrooms you've got. And knowing all of this basic information about you, they talk to you as if you are very good friends, close friends, and then they use all of this information against you. And so you think that they really do care about you. And then all of a sudden they profess love. They say they want to come visit you. The problem is, because their money is tied up in a bank and they don't really have access to very much of their funds, they need you to send money for a plane ticket. And again, you are believing what you've been told, so you send money for a plane ticket, and then they claim they've got a plane ticket, but because they're on a military flight or some type of private flight, you don't have access then to the flight times. You're only relying on what they're telling you about when they're going to arrive. And at the last minute, there's always a problem. They've had an accident. Something has come up why they can't catch the flight at the last minute. They don't show up, or they are arrested when they arrive because the drug sniffing dog at the airport has targeted their luggage, and it's been now confiscated by some type of arrangement at the airport, the security.
I don't even know how they keep their lies straight. I'm trying to follow what you're saying, and I'm going, what? Like, this is such an elaborate lie. It's such an elaborate scheme. I can't even follow what you're saying. And Mary, you mentioned this before, and I think it bears repeating. You know, once the money's gone, the money's gone. You're not getting your money back.
That's right. And particularly, again, because it's via gift cards or cryptocurrency, neither of which can be traced.
Got to be really careful. So let's say you are very vigilant, but you know what? You've become a victim of this, and it happened, and you're embarrassed that it happened, but it did. Who do I report this to? Can I go to the police? What do I do at this point that I've just been scammed out of $20,000?
Exactly. And very often the criminal is going to tell their victim to keep it secret, and secrecy actually works against you. As soon as you know you've been scammed, the sooner you report it, the better off you might be in trying to recoup some of your losses. Although, again, depending on how you've paid the money or what kind of information you've given, you probably are not going to recoup any money. But you need to report. In Pennsylvania, the Attorney General has a website at attorneygeneral.gov, and that's one place to report. You can go to your local police department and at least have them take a police report. So you start the process of reporting. Now, granted, the local police don't have the resources, the ability to chase these criminals around the world.
How can you? You know,
Yes.
they're in Nigeria. What are you going to do?
exactly
Hop
right.
on a plane and go to Nigeria and try to track them down? It's hard.
Again, you need to start the process. You can report to ftc.gov. The Federal Trade Commission wants you to report on their website, ftc.gov. You can also report to the FBI at their complaint center, and that website is the letter I, the letter C, and the number 3.gov. IC3.gov is the FBI complaint situation. You need to report there. The more we report, the better off the government agencies that are interested in these issues can put the information together. And the more information that they can get from many victims, the better off they will be then in trying to trace these people down and stop these criminal enterprises that are working offshore.
And I think that we need to share our stories as well and not be embarrassed. I tell everybody what happened to me. And something else that I did when I realized they had stolen my information and they were trying to open credit cards, I called my bank immediately and I froze all of my credit reporting, the Experian, TransUnion, and Equifax. I put a freeze on all of them, and they've been frozen to this day because this scam has continued. They're still trying to do this, but with those credit accounts, those agencies with my account frozen, they can't do anything. And that was something else that I did. Was that something smart to do?
That is the smartest thing you can do.
Thank you, Mary.
in fact, everybody will tell you, that is the government agencies, the banks, will tell you that the best way anyone of any age can protect themselves is by freezing their credit reports with all three of the credit reporting agencies which you just named. And everyone should do that. At AARP, we urge people to do that. And we also want people to know that they can actually get a free credit report from each of the three credit reporting agencies. And since COVID, they have now made it all free, and you can get a credit report as often as once a week. Now, I think that's overkill, and I don't really think that anybody needs to get their credit report every week.
Yeah.
But certainly if you get one every month to track your credit report and what is actually being looked at on your credit report, it's to your advantage. The more you know, the better you can handle your financial affairs.
Well, and if you freeze your accounts, I rest easy at night. It's frozen. There's nothing to report because it's frozen. And that is like, I don't know, I guess that's the ultimate layer of protection.
It is. And let me add that people who freeze their credit reports should not worry about using their credit cards.
Yeah.
They can still shop and use their credit cards at the supermarket or the big box store, wherever they happen to be using credit, just the same as they always would, even though their credit reports are frozen. It just protects them and keeps the criminal from opening credit in your name at their address.
Yeah, because once they have your social security number, you're screwed, Mary. There's no other way to put it. I mean, they have your social security number. And what are you going to do? There's nothing you can do about it.
And there's so much, again, information about all of us that's out there in the public world. And now with data breaches that occur with so many companies or universities or even our doctor's office that we simply cannot control, we have to be aware that this is going on. The dark web is a real thing, and we need to make sure that we protect ourselves any way we can. Freeze your credit reports.
Absolutely. I know that AARP Pennsylvania has a lot of resources available to help people with these consumer problems. What's a good website to go to at AARP Pennsylvania to get more information?
Well, the website is aarp.org/fraudwatch. And there's lots and lots of good information, tools and tips. It's free of charge. Mm-hmm. It's for people of any age. And you do not have to be a member of AARP to use it. So we urge everyone to take advantage of the resources that are out there. And aarp.org/fraudwatch has lots of excellent tools and tips about all kinds of scams and how to protect yourself.
And do you folks, I believe you have a complaint number as well. If I was a victim of any type of this fraud or scam activity, is there an 800 number that I can call and lodge a complaint, or somebody can talk me through the process?
Absolutely. We call it a helpline, and it's actually 877-908-3360. I'll repeat, it's 877-908-3360. 3360. Again, no membership required for people of any age. And if you think you've been a victim, you definitely want to call the helpline. But if you're concerned about somebody and just want to call and get some advice, it is manned by volunteers who are well trained, who deal with fraud and victimization all the time. And so we urge people to utilize the helpline.
That's a great resource to have. And Mary, as we close out this podcast, what are some final words?
We also want people to know that they can stay current about the latest frauds and scams if they've got a smartphone device. They can text the letters FWN, which stands for Fraud Watch Network. Text FWN to the number 50757. And every other week, bi-weekly, you'll get the latest updates about frauds and scams, the latest iteration, because frauds and scams go on all year long. Again, the criminals follow the headlines, and you never know what they're going to be coming up with.
Mary, this is exhausting. Ain't nobody got time for this. It's exhausting, but I guess we have to keep up on it, and we have to be vigilant to protect ourselves.
The criminals prey on our good nature. They know that many of us, and particularly those of us who are older, are more trusting, and they take advantage of that attitude.
Mary Bach, it has been a pleasure and an honor to have you on this podcast. And I just think you are chock full of wonderful information. And I really think you've helped a lot of people and opened up a lot of eyes. And I hope that people are getting some great tips from you. So thank you so much for coming on the podcast, Mary.
Thank you. Remember those red flags.
Absolutely. Thanks, Mary. Again, this is a wonderful time of year, but it's also the time of year that these thieves prey on our good nature and prey on our emotions. So please, please be careful as you're out there doing your holiday shopping. And please be careful all year long, because I have been a victim of this, and it's very easy to happen, and it's a nightmare than trying to clear your name. So thanks for watching. Thanks for listening. Please head over to our YouTube channel, like and subscribe to Chick2Chick USA. That way, every time we come out with a new podcast episode, you're going to get an alert on your phone. So thanks once again. Happy shopping, and be safe out there.